What's up, guys? Back to do another little video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Canon T6 Rebel, also known as the Canon 1300D. This is the camera I've been using for close to about a year now, and it's somewhat of a beginner DSLR. Pretty decently priced camera for anyone looking to get into the game as far as photography goes, or even videography. I'll give some examples of both of those that I've done recently, but particularly in low light situations, I kind of want to highlight some of the things that this camera maybe struggles with, and also some of the things that it kind of does well. So this is a little clip that I recently had shot, at nighttime, and yeah, here it is. So yeah, there goes the footage that I shot over the weekend, and for me, I thought it wasn't too bad. I thought the footage was definitely usable, and I also thought that for it being such a reasonably priced camera, that it did pretty well when it came to the video. Now, typically, this camera is going to struggle when the ISO is on the higher end, and I had it all the way up on 6400, and I thought it didn't turn out that bad, like I already said. And for me, I think it was something that you can take into consideration when trying to purchase this, when you're going to purchase this camera or thinking about it, if you're going to be doing video with this, you got to be thinking about the situations that you're going to be in. Are you going to be in a lower light situation? Are you going to be in situations where you can't bring a light with you? And if you are going to be in those kind of situations, maybe you should consider, a different camera. But for the most part, when I was able to stay in areas where there was more ambient light, more street lights, things like that, I thought the camera did okay. And also, when I got into some darker situations, something that I've kind of just came up with on the fly was actually pulling out my cell phone and using the flashlight on it to illuminate my subject, and that helped the camera out a little bit, kind of get a more, less of a silhouette, I should say. So those kind of things are all things you should take into consideration when potentially purchasing this camera, especially if you want to do video. Now, I will say, jumping into what this camera did as far as stills go, was a little more disappointing as far as the low light goes. I'm gonna put some of those images up right here. So as you can see, a lot of those images came out really grainy, and they somewhat were unusable at times depending on where I was and how dark it was. But there's also kind of this cool character aspect that this camera kind of gives you in those situations that you can almost kind of use to your advantage, and just kind of go with and work through in the edit, as far as like not overstating those, but already kind of having a grungy feel to your pictures. But just like with the video, I should say, you kind of want to stay in areas where you have some light, and anytime you have a well lit subject, you're going to get a decently shot picture on this camera. And that's not really what this video is about, so I'm probably going to do a future video on the more stronger side and some of the better photos that I've got with this camera, because it is a cheaper setup. And for me, I found that in certain situations with certain lenses, I've been able to get some really good pictures and even some high quality videos for my standards as being, you know, someone who's been only doing this for less than a year now. I think that this camera is pretty much a steal for the price that it is right now. I think you can pick up this camera for around 300 bucks. And I think so far for me, it's performed really well up until about now. I think for me, I'm starting to grow almost out of this camera and into something that is a little more powerful, just from my skill set getting, you know, better at what my craft is and what I've been doing. I think that, you know, that is what everyone should do, and that is why we have a beginner DSLR. It's for people like me who need to learn the basics of a camera, and that is something that this camera will let you do, because you do have a manual shooting mode, and you do have a video mode that has, you know, up to 60 frames per second, which isn't the highest but is enough, and you can slow it down and get some slow motion cool shots. So with that being said, I'm gonna probably send you guys off, man. Definitely give me a thumbs up if you thought this was a decent video. Give me a sub, man. I'm probably gonna be doing more stuff like this, especially if you're a beginner or someone who is even, you know, just kind of a hobbyist, and this is something you do on the side or just do every now and then in your free time. I think, you know, I'm definitely open to criticism, open to learning from new people, so we can all kind of, man, create our own little community here and just kind of grow together. And with that being said, have a great night, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you right now. Peace.